Skywagons University, we're going to be talking about what is a float kit on a Cessna 180 or 185. This is a 76 Cessna 185 and it has a float kit. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding that the float kit is the floats, and it's not. It's actually the ability to be put on floats. So we're going to go through what this plane has that means you know that it has the ability to be put on floats.
Inside the oil door of a 185, the corrosion proofing, you can see the corrosion proofing on there. You can see the engine mounts. There's a vertical tube and a horizontal tube on the firewall. That shows a float kitted engine mount. And on the lower part of the engine mount, you can see a thicker horizontal tube that's going across underneath the engine. That's a heavy duty engine mount. That's also part of the float kit. Outside it, looking at these skins, that triangular skin coming down the fuselage, that's the forward part of the float kit. It's a double reinforced skin. And then looking through the windshield, you can see a V-brace on top of the wing on a float-kitted plane with bladders. There are 2 gas caps per side, and there are lifting eyes on top of the fuselage for lifting the plane off the ground and physically putting the floats underneath it. This plane has got skylights. They're just tinted glass on top of the cabin roof. And you can also see through the windshield there the top corner of the V-brace. That's all part of the float kit. Here's that triangular skin again. And coming down from it onto the lower part of the fuselage, these double skins under the door that come along the fuselage past the attach block and up around the baggage door, all these skins are reinforcements for the load for when the plane is on floats. That big patch right there is the big main giveaway of a float kit. If you come along the top of the fuselage on a later plane, a 76 or newer, you'll see this rivet pattern. That is the water rudder centering springs that are inside the fuselage of the plane, so you'll only see rivets on the outside. The 185s have all got the big fin, so there's no difference there. And if you look on top of the wings on a bladdered, float-kitted plane, you'll see 2 caps per side, like on this plane. If it was non-float-kitted, they'd only be outboard for long-range fuel, and they'd only be inboard for standard fuel. Here's a close-up of the V-brace. It's removable, but it's recommended always to be in place if you're on floats. Looking inside, you can see the zinc chromate corrosion proofing. This is throughout the wings and fuselage of anything with a float kit, and it's put on at the factory. There are 3 bolts there. That's the strut attach point where the strut meets the wing. And if you look on the top and bottom of the skins of the leading edge, you can see a line of rivets that don't seem to be doing anything. That's holding on the Sportsman stall kit.
Yeah, that's the float kit engine mount. It's got this vertical tube and the horizontal tube. And down inside here under the engine it's thicker. Mm-hmm. And written on here it says float plane dipstick.
Oh yeah,
so
look at that.
When it's level, the dipstick has 2 X's on the back that you use, and when it's on wheels, you use the numbers on the front. And it's all zinc chromated too, corrosion proofed.
Mm-hmm.
And the big giveaway, whether this plane was in Louisiana working for the oil companies or not, is those 4 screws.
And what? I already forgot about that. Oh yeah, it was a separate handle.
A door handle on there. A Baton Rouge hardware store door handle, so the guys could walk down
on
the
floats
and not touch the prop. So that is being pulled from the other side of the engine. Mm-hmm. It's the 7th stud, and then on top of the case there are bumps along here inside. See these bumps on top?
Okay.
That's the bumpy back case. So this is a phase 3 heavy bumpy back case. It's the one you want.
So it's not these 2 bolts that you're looking for, because those are common to all the engines. Yeah. It's this that you're looking for right here.
And if it wasn't a 7th stud case, it would just be a blank molding there with no threaded in. And the thread pulls from the back. Mm-hmm. And it's on every cylinder. But that's the case everybody wants, is the heavy bumpy back 7th stud case.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell us, what's this all about here?
So the late model Skywagons, 180s and 185s, the 180 doesn't have that because it's a carbureted engine. So when you're trying to differentiate between them on the ramp to see which is which, the big giveaway is the cooling scoop, because there's an electric fuel pump in there. And only the 185s have it.
And that's to cool the electric fuel boost pump.
Yeah, exactly. And you can just see a little bit of it right there.
Okay. And then tell us what's...
So the float kit isn't the floats, it's the ability to be put on floats. So it's this skin, this skin, this skin, and this skin is all structural reinforcement for floats. And this is where the rear float attach block bolts to the plane. Those are the 4 holes.
And you can tell it's been on floats because of those 2 holes have been used?
Actually, it's these 2 are supplied by the factory and these 2 aren't. So if it hasn't been on floats, there are 2 and they have grommets in them. And if it has, there are 4 and there's an impression of the block. So people will always say, my plane's never been on floats, and you look at it, there's 4 holes and it has. Yeah.
Let's look at this block over here on this one. You can show me.
And so this is the block that's actually still on the plane. I mean, it's removable, but people leave it on for just handy access. But the holes that are supplied are the guide holes, and the other 2 you drill when you first fit it. So a never been on floats plane is just 2 holes and a smooth skin.
So it's these 2 holes are the ones that are from the factory, and these forward 2 you got to drill.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And the dream of everybody is a Skywagon with a float kit that's never been on floats.
That's the unicorn, the elusive unicorn, huh?
Yeah, exactly.